Hey guys, it's Madison Estes. Welcome back to my channel. Today I am reviewing the new movie, Orphan: First Kill. There is no way that I can talk about this movie without getting into spoilers for the movie plus the movie Orphan, so if you haven't seen it yet, I would go watch those now and then come back and finish this video. So this story is about Lena, a 31-year-old woman who has a medical condition that makes her look like a young child. She escapes a mental institution and tries to pass herself off as a missing child named Esther that she bears a strong resemblance to. The family takes her in, but the mother Tricia doesn't believe that Lena is her daughter Esther, probably because her son murdered the real Esther 4 years before and she helped cover up the murder. Dun dun dun! So this is the big twist that everyone's been talking about on social media. I already saw this twist before in a Law & Order episode several years ago, and it did make for a really great episode of Law & Order. But does it also make for a really good movie? Actually, yeah, it does. There is something really different about seeing this twist play out from the perspective of the con artist and the family as opposed to the perspective of a detective investigating a case, and it makes for a really compelling movie. It made for a really fun and wild ride, although everyone acting like this is the most brilliant twist since the ending of Saw or The Sixth Sense, or even the original Orphan movie, which in my opinion had a really solid 5 out of 5 twist at the end. Everyone just needs to calm down a little bit, because I called this twist about 10 minutes into the movie, and it's one that I've definitely seen in other movies before. It was a good twist, but everyone, let's just calm down a little bit. So my first guess was actually a little bit more wild than this story even. I thought that what was going to happen is that she was going to end up killing the whole family because she thinks that they discovered her secret, and then she was going to find out that that was actually her real family that she murdered. And I was thinking that maybe she couldn't remember them because she was sex trafficked, and maybe that would also explain why she keeps trying to sleep with like the father figure of these families that she ends up in. I thought that would kind of explain that part of her backstory, and that, that would be like the brutal twist is that, she finally found her actual family, but she couldn't remember them, and then she ends up killing them, as part of her MO. I don't know, I just thought that would have been interesting. And as for the age thing, because that could be a problem with that potential storyline, I was thinking maybe like the family was pretending that she was a little girl because she was still passing herself off as a little girl, and they thought that that would help her transition back into the family, before she murders them all because she doesn't remember that's actually her family. That was just something that I thought would have been, extra weird and extra icky, especially if you think about the fact that she always tries to seduce the dad and she would be trying to seduce her real dad. I think that that would add like a certain level of uncomfortableness that the first film had that this film was definitely lacking in. I don't know, that's not the movie that we got. I know I'm kind of going off on a tangent here, but I thought the idea was interesting, and I would love to see that in another prequel, since that is kind of the direction they would probably have to take the series if they wanted to continue it. I think her murdering her own family on accident could actually be like the big dark twist that the next movie needs if they decide to continue the series. I just think it would be really interesting, and that's, the direction I hope that they go in the future if they continue to make these films. But, that was not this film, but maybe it'll be, a future film someday. It could be Orphan: First Actual Kill, or, Orphan: First Blood, if they want to, keep first in the titles now to keep indicating that it's a prequel. Although they would have to, because it couldn't possibly be a sequel. I don't know, unless they wanted to go a supernatural route, which I really hope they stay away from. Anyways, moving on. So the mother helped the brother cover up the crime, so they both know that Lena is an imposter. And once they find out that she's actually an adult woman pretending to be a child, they become repulsed by her and they want to kill her. Unfortunately for them, they can't just make her disappear because Esther disappearing twice would look really suspicious. So instead the mother tries to poison her so that she looks like she got sick and died, because that's not suspicious at all. Poor Lena. All she wanted to do was pull off a little con, impersonate a missing child, and she ended up in a Lifetime movie instead. So the twist happens about midway through the movie, and it is a wild and fun ride after that, although I do wish that the third act had been a little bit less predictable the way the second act was. After the twist, I guessed just about everything else that happens in this movie, except I thought that there was going to be a scene where the father finds out what happened to Esther and confronts the mother and brother about what happened. This secret feels like it could have had a great emotional payoff, but that never happens because the father dies within seconds of realizing that Esther is not the real Esther, and he never has time to put 2 and 2 together. Which to me feels like a massive missed opportunity because Esther wasn't the real villain in this movie. I mean, other than the fact that she murdered the art teacher and the cop and... Okay, so she was a villain, but she wasn't like the main one. From the father's perspective anyways, Lena is not the main villain. The strange woman that comes into your life and pretends to be your dead daughter is one kind of evil, but the wife and son that covered up the murder of your dead daughter and lied to you about it for years is a completely different kind of evil. And in a way, they're even more cold-blooded than Lena is. And for the father to find out, I think that would have been so good, so dramatic. That would have been a fantastic confrontation scene. I definitely think that, the father would have probably hinted at calling the police or getting them involved. And then I think that the mother, Trisha, would have murdered him to save her own ass. And I think just seeing the betrayal in his face as he realizes who his wife really is would have just been so good. And then, of course, I think Lena would kill the mother, both out of self-preservation, but also in revenge for her killing the father, because, Lena's got daddy issues. So I think that would have been a really good climax scene, and, would have had an emotional payoff that this one just didn't have. But overall, this was a really good film. The acting was solid, especially Julia Stiles, who did a really good job of playing both the role of the oblivious mother and the cold-blooded, conniving manipulator. The pacing was great. Right around the time I started getting bored in the middle of the movie, thinking this was going to be just like the first movie, the twist happens, and then the cat and mouse game between Lena and the mother started, and it was just a really fun ride. But does this movie live up to the hype? Well, I don't think that this movie is as good as the original, like some people are saying, but I do think that it had some really satisfying moments, and I thought that the ending was pretty chilling, especially the part where they say, "Who wouldn't want to adopt her?" I thought that was really creepy and well done. I think that this movie is different from the original and good in its own way, and I really appreciated the multiple villains aspect. I give this film 4 out of 5 stars, mostly because of how well the twist was executed and how painstakingly difficult it must have been to do those perspective shots to convince us that Lena looks like a child. It is really impressive to make a 20-something-year-old actress look like she still looks like a child, but they managed to do it in a way that was super convincing and that honestly impressed me quite a bit. So tell me, would you guys like to see another Orphan film? And what did you think of my idea of a prequel where Lena unknowingly kills her whole family? Do you have any ideas for how they could spice this story up and make this a compelling horror franchise? Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a like and be sure to subscribe. On this channel, I post reviews, writing advice, horror commentary, and vlogs. Thanks so much for watching. I'll see you later.